If you happen to be a Marvel Comics fan, you've probably heard the statement that Black Cat is essentially just Marvel Comics' version of the far more successful Catwoman. And with that being said, today I want to decide whether those are just rumors or if there's enough between the two characters that makes them different. Because, let's face it, they are often a victim of being considered the exact same character within their respective universes. So let's get started with the things that the characters pretty much share in common. They are both young women, they are both in their 20s, they both don skin tight rubber latex suits when stealing or fighting crime, and they are both romantic foils for their respective heroes, with Catwoman being a romantic foil for Batman and Black Cat being a romantic foil for Spider-Man. They are both skilled hand-to-hand combatants. They both attach claws to the gloves of their cat suits, as well as they both like to use whips in battle. Now, obviously, the two characters have different names, with Black Cat's real name being Felicia Hardy, and Catwoman's real name being Selena Kyle. So, with that all being said, I think now is the perfect time to start discussing each of the characters' backstories. And we'll start with Felicia Hardy first, simply because she's the character that I'm more familiar with out of the two, because I myself am a huge Marvel Comics fan. So with that being said, Felicia Hardy was born to her father, Walter Hardy, who was a very skilled criminal and burglar, and at a very young age he instilled in her not to settle for anything else than what she wanted. The events that would turn Felicia into the Black Cat transpired during her freshman year at Empire State University, where she was the victim of sexual assault. Felicia vowed to never again be the victim and trained for many months and learn martial arts. She would then don her iconic skin-tight black catsuit with a black face mask to hide her identity. However, when she finally caught up to her attacker, he was killed in a drunk driving accident. The next logical step was for Felicia to become a full-on Catwoman, and that's exactly what she did, and like her father, she became very good at it. She would also further upgrade her catsuit over the years, adding things like furry white trims to it. They would be around her neck, around her upper arms, and around her lower legs. She would also add a studded black leather choke to her outfit to act as a cat's collar. Her father would later get sent to prison, leading to Felicia devising an elaborate plan to break him out as her Black Cat persona. She would encounter Spider-Man on this night, and she immediately fell in love with the wall crawler. All of her future crimes were essentially set up so she could get closer and closer to Spider-Man. Yo, Peter, if a woman in a skin-tight rubber latex suit is chasing you around at night and deliberately causing crimes to get your attention, go on a date with her, dude. You're not gonna find many women dressed up in dominatrix suits, eh? Rest assured, over the course of many crimes that Black Cat would commit, Spider-Man would always come to stop her, and over the course of that time, they would develop a sort of frenemy relationship, until finally Peter would reveal that he was actually a college student named Peter Parker. And surprisingly enough, Felicia's reaction to this was super weird. She was like, yo, I don't really like you, but I do like Spider-Man. Now, this does carry on for a while of Felicia really not liking Peter Parker unless he's wearing the Spider-Man costume. However, after a while, she does grow to like both Peter Parker and Spider-Man, even though they're the exact same person, and this leads to them eventually becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. However, Black Cat does get a set of powers which give her the ability to give other people bad luck. So unfortunately, this leads to Peter and Felicia having a falling out. Peter leaves Felicia, and Felicia is upset, as you would be. And Peter decides to go to Doctor Strange and take away these bad luck powers from Felicia and give her some new powers. Now he does take away the bad luck powers and he gives her a set of new powers, which include super strength, as well as organic claws instead of the ones she would usually put on her suit, and things like that. However, Felicia is still mad at Peter for obvious reasons. And from here, Marvel really goes into the crazy ex-girlfriend side of Felicia the Black Cat. And that's pretty much where her character is. She's sometimes good, she's sometimes bad. She's more or less a frenemy of Peter Parker at this point in Marvel Comics. Alright, next up for DC fans out there, we have Selena Kyle, Catwoman. Selena Kyle had a very troubled youth. Her father was very abusive to her mother and would often beat her mother senseless until finally one day, after her mother seemingly disappeared, this was the breaking point for Selena. She decided to leave. She left the door open as she left, as she said to her mother's pet cats, "You're welcome to leave, the door is open for you, but I'm not staying here." She took up many jobs, but one of her most notable jobs, at least in the comic books, was her dominatrix job. And this job actually gave her the iconic skin-tight rubber catsuit that she wears when fighting crime. However, in other continuities, she does temporarily don a leather jumpsuit before inevitably switching it out for the iconic latex catsuit that she wears in almost every version of the character in existence. There are even implications in other continuities, much like the one I just talked about, where she actually saved up money from prostitution to make her own unique catsuit. And even though Catwoman is an accomplished jewel thief, she never outright does anything sinister. In the first few comics where Catwoman was introduced, she simply just used her Catwoman persona to steal gems and stuff to keep herself going when prostitution wasn't paying enough. And this led to her having several encounters with the infamous Batman. And so, over the course of many interactions with the Cape Crusader, she would develop a sort of frenemy-style relationship. And in turn, Batman would constantly be chasing Selena Kyle around, desperately trying to reform her and get her away from such a dangerous life. However, as unfortunate as it may be, Catwoman did not want to change. Selena Kyle was happy with who she was, and she liked going out dressed up as Catwoman, stealing precious jewels and artifacts. And much to Bruce's disappointment, that's the way it ended up. Both of these characters are very skilled and formidable anti-heroes. They are both the romantic foils for their respective heroes. They both are 20-year-old women who dress up in skin-tight suits to fight crime or steal. However, the things that these characters do not share in common outside of their names is that, well, Black Cat was born into a life of crime. She actively tries to stop being the way she is. However, being that she was born into crime and that it's all she knows, she ultimately comes back to it. Whereas in Catwoman loves being bad. She loves what she does, and she will. Another thing that sets these two apart is that Black Cat has powers and Catwoman does not. Black Cat sports a multitude of different powers given to her by Doctor Strange, such as super strength, increased speed and agility, and not to mention retractable organic claws. So with that, I can conclusively say that these characters are different. Well, yes, they do share quite a lot in common. There is enough in each of their respected universes that makes them stand alone from one another. Black Cat has superpowers, and Catwoman does not, and even in their origin stories, they are slightly different, with Black Cat having been born into a life of crime and constantly makes attempts to stop what she's doing, but to no avail, whereas in Black Cat was a very abused child, and because of that, she finds enjoyment out of being bad out of doing what she loves to do, which is steal jewels. And that makes the characters different enough that I can say that they stand alone. They both have different paths that they've traveled, therefore they're two entirely different characters. Similar as they may be, they are still quite different. Anyway, that pretty much wraps up the video. Let me know what you guys thought about my consensus in the comments below. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Do take care and have a great night.